With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Listen, man, I love Game of Thrones as much as everybody else, but even I'm tired of how the incest storyline of that show played out. Okay, great. Cersei and Jaime, they bumped uglies numerous times, had 3 children. We can move on from that now. But when it plays out in real life, it's clearly more disgusting, and it's something like this. By the way, that has more to do, I should say, with the movie Old Boy than it does with Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones is a more current pop culture reference, which is why I led with that. Anyway, father-daughter couple arrested for incest after having love child. Yeah, this is the thing. A 42-year-old North Carolina man and his 20-year-old daughter have been arrested on incest charges after having a love child last year and reportedly getting married. We hear about this sometimes. There's been some stuff like this recently. There was a story I talked about last year. It was a woman who had married her son, got in trouble for marrying her son, and then had tried to marry her daughter, got in trouble for trying to marry her daughter. And apparently incest is a thing. Incest is the best. Put your daughter to the test, I guess, is the motto of this particular story. Now it says here, Stephen Pladl, 42, of Knightdale, and Katie Pladl, 20, were arrested January 27th, citing warrants. They have also been charged with adultery and contributing to delinquency. The maximum sentence for incest charge is 10 years in prison. I want to know the adultery part, I'm curious to know about. Also, the contributing to delinquency is something I'm very curious to know about. Now, it says the child, a boy, was born in September. Stephen Pladl was released on a $1 million bond. Katie Pladl's bond is also $1 million, but as of last week, she's still being held in a North Carolina jail. They appeared in court last week. Now, here's the thing. This dude had $100,000 he was able to put up to get himself out of jail, but left his daughter wife in prison because she can't get out on bail, right? Upstanding North Carolina citizen. This is nothing against the people of North Carolina. I'm sure you're wonderful, amazing people, but this dude be cray. The charges were brought in Virginia, where authorities believe the relationship began. The station reported that Pladl gave up Katie for adoption when she was an infant, and they reunited in 2016 when she tracked him down via social media. That's what I'm talking about when I say that this has some resemblances to Old Boy. Right, but this isn't some master plan by someone else to get revenge on the father by making him fall in love with the daughter. This is one of those moments where it's kind of like, she didn't know her father. Clearly daddy issues at play here. 20 years later or 18 years later, whatever, she tracks him down via social media, and she's like, wow, you're my dad. You're also really hot, and I totally want to blow you right now. And he's like, cool, baby. And your mom was a whore too. She's half you. Like that sort of thing is how I feel it probably played out. But speculation is what the name of the game here. Now, at the time, according to the news station, Pladl was living outside of Richmond with his wife, Katie's mother, and their 2 children, girls who would have been Katie's sisters. Oh, I didn't know about that. The plot just thickened, my friends. So that is where the adultery comes into play. He cheated on his wife with him and his wife's biological daughter, of which they had 3 children with, and they also got the one girl pregnant. This is something that Lifetime can't even make up, but it happened. Oh, it happened. Katie moved into the home, the station reported. Subsequently, Pladl and his wife legally separated in November 2016 and began living apart. She told authorities that just before she moved out, he would sleep on the floor in Katie's room. Online records show that the wife filed for divorce in March 2017 and obtained a divorce decree 3 months later. Okay, so I'm assuming that they probably, so they were probably already doing some stuff beforehand. I find it odd that adultery is illegal in the country. I mean, I understand why it would be illegal. Technically, marriage is considered a contract. So if you violate that contract, that would be in violation, I guess, of civil law. And so I get that part of it. But at the same time, it's kind of like, really? It happens all the time. Like, I watch enough porn. Like, no one ever cares about adultery. No one. The ex-wife learned Katie was pregnant last May 8 days later, child welfare workers in Virginia began conducting interviews. According to the station, they also interviewed 2 older children who say they've been told their father fathered Katie's baby. Well, that's an odd conversation to have with the children, right? Sit them down, little Tommy, little Mary. You know, you're sitting there like, kids, this is a story of how I met your sister mother. Or whatever. Oh no, that would be how he talks to his daughter, the boy, right? This is how I met your sister mother. It all started back in the year 2000. We had your sister mother, your grandmother. What would that be? Grandmother? Yeah, no, your great grandmother, I guess, essentially. No, your grandmother. Or your grand aunt. I don't even know. There's not even a joke there. But we gave her up. She came back into our lives, and her and I just hit it off, right? We just hit it off. We were watching Game of Thrones. It just kind of one thing led to another, and before I knew it, here you are, our bundle of flipper baby, scraping the bottom of the gene pool there, right? So anyway, the warrant shows that Stephen Pladl then told his children to call Katie their stepmom, but they knew that she was their sister. It's a mother sister. And police in suburban Richmond issued arrest warrants for them last November. The ex-wife told WTVR-TV that her former husband and Katie married in Maryland and then moved to North Carolina. She believes her ex-husband brainwashed and manipulated Katie. And then also here, the station's legal analyst Todd Stone says, this is a pretty unique set of facts, I would say. Yeah, I'd call it a pretty unique set of facts. I'd call it a pretty unique tale. A tale that is not, well, actually, it might actually come across as being a tale as old as time, to be fair. Incest is not like a new phenomenon, right? So it could be a tale as old as time. In no way is it right. Now, I guess the question here is, because there's a question here, and the question here ultimately boils down to, do you think that these people, being consenting adults, should have the legal right to marry and foster children together, right? Or to create children together. And as much as I feel like, no, I don't feel like that should be a thing because it's not a societal norm. Ultimately, I guess the question boils down to, and you could feel differently than me, and that's entirely fine. Because again, I'm against this wholeheartedly, but it's like, do they have that right, being Americans who have not hurt anyone or been violent to anyone, and this is where they just choose to spread their love? It does make me think a little bit of the Tom Arnold movie The Stupids and that song I Am My Own Grandpa, which if you haven't seen it, jump onto YouTube and check it out. It's the best part of the whole movie. But I'm just saying, the question I put to you, and they will be fun to read in the comments, is this something that the state should ultimately get involved in? If he did in fact, divorce his wife, and he did in fact move on and have an affair with this girl afterward, even though she's his daughter, is it illegal? Immoral? Oh yeah, absolutely. But illegal, that's where I put my question to you. So good luck trying to figure out this moral quandary.